In today's day and age, most of us are concerned about global warming and the mass extinction event of multiple species on Earth. And most of us have turned to using less plastic straws and more reusable items in order to counteract that. However, as much as this can do to help reduce the problem actually surrounds the fishing industry. The fishing industry is responsible for more than 50% of the plastic found in the ocean every year, and is also responsible for overfishing of multiple species, almost past the point of extinction. This overfishing is a big part of the problem, as it leads to the demise of our corals, the toppling of the food structure in the ocean ecosystem, and it reduces the amount of carbon that the ocean can take in from the atmosphere.
Around 2.4 million tons of plastic enter the ocean every year. In the Pacific Ocean, there's a garbage patch that is 3 times the size of France. Very harmful for marine life. For example, marine animals can get caught in plastics and get tangled, which can be possibly deadly to them. When plastic breaks down, it turns into microplastics, which then get eaten by a lot of marine life, including the marine life that we consume. So when we're eating fish or other marine animals, we are also likely consuming microplastics. The problem is ghost fishing. Ghost fishing is when old fishing equipment gets either tossed into the ocean or it gets lost. When this happens, the old fishing equipment is still catching a lot of marine life, and so they get caught in nets and stuff and die. Also, corals can get smothered by the plastic that floats in the ocean, and coral is a habitat for many fish and other marine animals to live in. So without the coral, they would have no place to live and hide from their predators.
Speaking about corals, overfishing is also a very big danger to them. Although they house 25% of all fish and marine species, they are often excluded from restoration and rehabilitation attempts. The relationship between them and the tenants that find a home on their branches is not only one-sided. While they provide shelter to wildlife, they are also fed by the animals that inhabit them. When those animals are overfished, corals are deprived of the nutrients they need to survive, leading to the desertification of a once flourishing environment. Another balance that overfishing tends to turn to chaos is the balance of the trophic level system in the ocean. If we decimate the population of larger fish, such as the bluefin tuna and sharks, the prey that it normally eats would reproduce in such abundance that it would overhunt and eventually lead to the extinction of the fish that it eats, which in turn would lead to their own extinction by starvation. This process continues down the trophic levels and eradicates all life in the environment. But since overfishing is so bad, it must be easier to find some way around it.
One thing that you should look out for when you're buying seafood is for labels. Oftentimes seafood will have labels on it telling you if it's sustainable or not. How sustainable and accurate are these labels? One label to look out for is the MSC, or the Marine Stewardship Council label. This label is on almost 15% of all seafood. Is the MSC label sustainable? MSC looks for 3 things while trying to tell if the product is sustainable. The thing they look for is, has this marine animal been overfished? The next thing they look for is, does this company use environmentally friendly fishing tactics? And lastly, they look for a strong management. The thing that they said they don't really care about is bycatch. Bycatch is when another sea animal gets caught in the nets while fishing and is not supposed to. While having a label on it is much better than not, make sure you do your research to see how sustainable the labels actually are.
If paying attention to the labels on our seafood isn't enough to guarantee our seafood consumption is sustainable, what are some other methods of protecting our ocean friends? The best way to make sure your impact on seafood is strictly positive is by cutting fish out of your diet entirely. If you don't want to lose the seafood completely though, any reduction can be beneficial, especially if restricted to only pole and line caught fish. Another way you can help is by reducing your carbon footprint and your use of single-use plastics. This ensures that the fish caught will be healthy and that fishermen will not need to catch more of the same species in order to meet quotas. If all else fails, the eradication of the human population will also help ensure the rebound of the underwater ecosystem. In the end, remember that to eat sustainable fish, you must first look for the label, research the label, reduce consumption, and finally reduce plastic and carbon emissions.